You ever want to do eggs, but the consistency is off, or I don't know, you're not able to fold an omelet? What if I told you it's mostly technique, but sometimes the egg is to blame? I'm going to show you the three most common ways we cook egg. So if you have company over, maybe you had a date, and the next morning you got to impress someone, this is a video to watch. Alright, so to start, you're going to need a non-stick pan. I highly suggest a non-stick pan if you're not used to cooking eggs. If you are used to it, then you probably wouldn't be watching this video. And a rubber spatula. The reason for this rubber or silicone spatula is because it can hug the sides, as you can see here, and it can also go under whatever it is you're cooking. Alright, and speaking about eggs, so eggs are, for the lack of a better term, unpredictable, meaning that each egg is way different. They're going to behave differently. If they're cold, if they're warm. Some people say crack it on the edge. I say crack it on a flat surface. The people that are against the flat surface, they claim that you might lose some egg while cracking the egg, which it's fine. You'll see why I mean that in a little bit. So I'm cracking it into a tiny container, crack it into a bowl. It just makes it easier when you're gonna place the egg on a pan. So you can see here, nice, perfect, normal egg, right? Sunny side up eggs. You're gonna use that pan and you're gonna put it on your stove. We're gonna use medium heat here. This is what medium looks for my stove. It may be different for your stove. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and add some oil after about a minute and a half, 2 minutes of warming up your pan. Put some oil. What I do here is I try to spread out the oil or whatever fat it is that I'm using just so it can spread out. But the coating on this pan is hydrophobic, so it doesn't allow for a even distribution of whatever liquid it is in there because it's trying to like get rid of it. So what I do is I try to place the egg just right on top of a nice little pool of fat. As you can see all those squiggly lines, this is how you get rid of it. You crack the egg on a fine mesh strainer. That gets rid of most of the liquid or the extra water and liquid that there is, and that gives you the whites a little bit more of concentration around the yolk versus squiggly and kind of spreading all over the pan like this. So anyways, as you can see here, it's spreading everywhere, but I didn't notice as I was trying to get an angle. I realized that it was lifting on this part here, and I don't really have an explanation other than the way the egg landed. Then that's when I noticed that. I was trying to get an angle here for the camera, so I decided to keep this footage so you can see a couple things. That white spot right there, that is also an indicator that something went wrong. I don't know if the egg was already that way or it was because of the way I tossed it onto the pan, but I mean, I've done that thousands of times. Anyways, so this is the way I like my eggs, nice and crispy on the edges, give it a little bit of color. And to me, this is a good egg. You can see there, that's where that spot was. It means it cooked all the way through in that area. So the bottom, as you can see, has nice color, and there's that opening. There's that rupture that caused the heat to go all the way through onto the yolk. I mean, in a restaurant setting, we wouldn't serve this, but you're at home, so this is fine. There's nothing wrong with this. It's a completely edible egg. That rupture did cause two types of textures on the yolk. It's well done in the center. It's kind of jammy, a little bit loose on the edges, but overall, this is a good egg. It's not bad, right? Now for over easy, I'm gonna add oil the same way, exactly the same way as the other type of egg that we did. Pour the egg on the fat. You can see the whites are running everywhere. Now the key for this one is to make sure that the egg whites are set, that you're able to slide around or slide the egg around the pan. Right here, kind of having a little bit of trouble, so I waited about 45 seconds. Once the egg whites were a little bit more set like this, and I was able to move the egg, just went ahead and flipped it. Now, here's the key. 20-30 seconds on that side, and you're out. That's it. Even less, probably. The way you can check is you can take your finger and kind of touch the yolk. And if it's bouncy and if it's like a sack of liquid, then you're still good. At this point, you can turn off the heat and then just go ahead and serve it that way. Again, tested it again. You can see here. Look at that yolk. Nice and runny. And then you can see the cross section here. You can see how the middle is a little bit more set than the outside. There you go. Nice and runny. Okay, now for your French omelet or your omelet. So for an omelet, for one person you want about 3 eggs. I'm using 2 here because of my pan. My pan is not that wide, and I'm seasoning right now. Controversial, but the salt helps the proteins. There's a reaction and it gives it a better consistency, a better texture. And I'm gonna whisk till I get pretty small bubbles, nice and mixed. Same process, except we're using butter. Butter is gonna help you cook it a little bit gentler. You can use other fats, but then it's gonna give a lot of color to your omelet, and if you want that, that's fine. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm pretty much scrambling the middle of this, just mixing it all up. Then I'm gonna hit the sides with the edge of my spatula like that, and I try to bring it all in the center, mix it around that way. Then I'm gonna let it sit for a couple seconds, and this is in real time so that you can see how long it takes to actually make the omelet. So after a few seconds, I'm gonna repeat the same process. I'm gonna scramble towards the middle, and then get the sides, and then kind of scramble again. The key here is that once you see the white streaks, that's your cue to begin the folding process. We're not there yet, so we're going to let it sit for a little bit longer. We're going to let that bottom kind of come together, and you can see here there's a little bit of streaking already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little bit of a mix here, and then I'm going to go ahead and spread it out as much as I can, every single little inch of this pan. And then I'm going to turn off the heat. I don't mind the moisture in there because it's still going to cook. It's still going to continue to cook. So I'm letting it sit for a few seconds. I turn off the heat right now. And I begin the folding process. Now don't get caught up with the folding process. Everybody thinks this is a very critical point of omelets. I mean, it kind of is, but just don't think about it, because if you do, you're going to rip it. As long as you hide that last fold, you should be fine. So I'm going to let it sit on this edge right here so you can see the way it's going to come out. I'm going to let it sit on the pan for another 10-15 seconds while I go out and grab a plate and place it on the table. And I'm going to bring this to the table so that continues to cook the omelet. 15 seconds later, here you go. To me, this is a perfect omelet. Now you can finish this with a little bit more butter on top. Just brush it on top. Whatever ingredients you want to add on top. Avocado, scallions, green onions, whatever it is. You can see here the cross section. It's nice and soft on the outside, still moist on the inside. If you want this to cook longer, just leave it on the pan. With the pan off, it will still continue to cook. Just let it sit there, hang out for maybe another 45 seconds, maybe a minute. You should be done. And that's how you cook eggs. If you feel you learned something, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and maybe if I'm lucky, share the video.